Hey, welcome back to the Distracted Driving Podcast. I'm Sean Genovese. This is episode 44, entitled, Why Are You Still Here? Why are you still here? That is a reference to something our guest, Liz Juhnke, says to us in relation to really what a mentor said to her. This is a really honest and candid conversation that we have with our friend Liz. If you missed the first two parts of our interview with Liz, she is a user experience, user design principal at the Home Depot. Formerly, I should say, she worked for the Boeing company. And in this portion of the conversation, we really dive into some of the motivation for her to leave what was a very good, very comfortable, very prestigious role at a very large company. Of course, she's still at a large company, but the motivation for her decision and the way that she arrived at the conclusion that it was time to move somewhere else is really quite interesting. I love her use of the word vicious in this conversation. So we will get right into it. This is the third and final part of our interview with Liz Juhnke, which you'll get to hear right after this message from our sponsor. And our sponsor, of course, is me. Lead Out Loud. Lead Out Loud workshops. If you like improv, if you are an engineer, if you like messy learning, if you like figuring out how to become a better leader, in fact, even if you don't like any of those things, check out Lead Out Loud at lolworkshop.com. It is a remote-first leadership development workshop. We have another cohort opening up here next month in September. It's very affordable. It's remote-first, 3 one-hour sessions, so it fits right into a workday. Go check it out, lolworkshop.com. And now, enjoy the final part of our conversation with Liz Juhnke. Because I'm looking at your LinkedIn, Liz, and I think it's now well established that you're a UX rock star and have had and continue to have a great career in that space. But there's a whole big giant section here on volunteering. External advisory board member, it looks like, for the UW. But the word mentor comes up quite a bit. We just talked about the jacket, the hoodie that you showed us, chief mentor or best mentor or whatever it said. Maybe you could speak for a moment about that. It's obviously important to you to be a coach and mentor. I see one in particular, adplist.org. You got a whole profile on here. It looks like you're a Gold Star member. I don't know if you want to dwell on that or just talk in general about the coaching and mentoring that you do. But clearly, it seems important enough to bring up in this very timely podcast.
Yeah, sure. So ADP List is a pretty new platform. I think probably around like 3 years old. It's called I think like a designers list or something. But it's basically anyone who wants mentoring in the design space. What I love about it is you can make cold connections on LinkedIn, but there is no sense of who is open to talk to. So on ADP List, there's the assumption that anyone you connect with, they're available to talk to you. And all the mentors, they set up like what times they're available. And I joined it actually first as a mentee when I was looking for a UX job because, as you know, Boeing was all I knew. And I don't think Boeing is a very good representation of what the UX industry is, as much as, you know, I tried to help through, the digital transformation environment that we were, working through to make it more, you know, industry leading, and the great work, through BCA, Digital Aviation, those guys. Shout out to you guys and the mom team. Um,
Oh, the mom team. I was on the mom team. I remember
yeah,
that.
everyone was on the mom team at some point. But so I was looking to understand like what roles should I be applying to? What roles do I qualify for? I am associate technical fellow. Turns out no one really understood or appreciated what that was. No one could really see what I was working on, so they were not impressed with what I was working on. It was tragic. So, I would like apply for a principal product design manager position at Microsoft, got to the final round, and it was just like a shootout. Or I'd apply for a senior design position at Amazon and get like cut after the first interview. It's like I was so confused about like what level I should be applying for, how to negotiate, right? What my portfolio should be highlighting. So I found a lot of great, principal designers on there that gave me a lot of great advice, great coaching. And and turns out one of the principals on there was Trey from Home Depot, who ended up telling me, "Hey, there's a job open over here. Check it out." And it ended up being a perfect fit. So that was cool. So then, kind of full circle giving back. It was, now how do I help the next generation of designers, find their dream job? And, as you guys know, talking to people is a passion of mine. And I
Yeah.
just love the sound of my own voice. I don't know.
So
Uh,
so do we.
Yeah. We don't know what that's like.
We love the sound of our own voices.
I don't
but
like it.
yeah, mentoring and teaching is one of my charisms. So yeah, have strong
Yeah.
skills in that already. So it's great to have people want to, they specifically search for and find, me in this case and say, hey, I would love to get tips on this and this. And then, we chat for like 30 minutes. And I was doing that once a week before I had my baby. So I'm on a little break.
Yeah, the baby.
Um, yeah.
How old's your
How,
baby now?
Madison is 8 months old now.
oh wow.
Oh,
She's
yay.
standing and eating everything, and
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah,
That's great.
she's gorgeous and snuggly, and
Oh, that's
um,
so much fun.
I love the snuggles. So cool. Robbie was not a snuggler, so I'm just in heaven.
What's your
Robbie, I'm
second?
I'm
Okay.
assuming is your other child,
Like
or could be,
almost
you could be
4-year-old.
describing a teddy bear. I'm not sure. It's
Robbie's my almost 4-year-old. Yeah, I got two little kids now. If you didn't know.
That's fun. That
I
is
did
so much
not know, but
fun.
now I know, as well as like five other people that will be listening to this, and all zero of the concurrent viewers. Um, so what advice, having gone through all of that, what advice would you or perhaps do you give to people that are in kind of a similar predicament of maybe not being appreciated in what they're doing, or they feel like they're a little bit lost either because of a lack of appreciation, or maybe they just can't quite find their groove. What do you tell them?
Yeah, I love the question because I think this was a lot of the discussions I had through like the ADP list discussions. But I think number one is self-reflection time. What do you need in order to be happy? And you need to look out for number one. You need to look out for yourself. No one is going to give you the same opportunities that you go out and find. I think that's why I was so, like I said, I was so vicious in the associate technical fellow application process because I saw what I wanted and I was doing everything I could to get it. And I IT, I think they set up like one mentor for me, but I'm an overachiever. So I needed like 30 extra people to tell me what was good and
We
bad,
know that.
and
Yeah.
leverage my social capital accordingly. Because what one human can maybe give me 1 hour a week, but 30 humans can give me an hour a week. Or they're
Can
going
give you.
no 30 humans are going to give me an hour a month, and that's a less of an ask for each person if I can project manage effectively. But anyway, your question was about the people struggling. Well, why are you struggling, and what do you need, and then get yourself out of there.
Yeah. Looking out for number one.
Well,
That's right.
when I talked to my designers about it, like at Boeing, and some of them, I was very close with all of them because I was not a manager. I'm the cool aunt as a principal.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Right.
The
I'm
cool
not
ant.
the
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it.
I'm not
There's
the
something to be said for that.
exactly. So I knew which ones were looking for another job, and so then I could tell them, I'm in the same boat, but I'm going to be here until it's no longer fun for me, and I'm
Hmm.
having a blast right now. And or
Uh-huh.
if the the next dream job comes up, but that requires you to be reflecting on what that dream job is and what your current job lacks. So you set goals appropriately and eyes
Yeah.
on the prize.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a
Go get it.
it can be a hard
I
thing to do.
get it.
It requires a lot of self-directed intellectual honesty.
Yep, discipline, introspection, for sure.
How
Yeah, and a willingness to do something new. I think a lot of people get kind of stuck in their status quo, and it's good enough. I have good stuff, and it's not that bad. We kind of rationalize it's not that bad, but changing to the unknown is difficult,
I agree
right?
with you, and I
So
was very scared to leave. Namely, you guys know, I had my community. It was my baby. I
yeah,
created it from a 5-person little book club. It grew to
right.
like what 700 people. So it was something
Yeah,
that
the UX
I was
community,
scared to leave.
well connected. Yeah,
Because when I had my first baby, my first maternity leave, when I left and I came back, I learned that some of the UX COE meetings were not happening anymore. So I was
uh,
nervous that leaving for good, it would just kind of like evaporate. And that was definitely
uh,
something that made me sad. But I'm so happy to hear that it is still flourishing.
still going. Yeah.
So
I
that's
felt the
really,
same way about the Movement Maker show leaving Boeing. I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen to it.
Oh
what
yeah.
did happen to it.
That was my baby.
Well, we're still doing it.
Yeah,
Still happening.
oh, I loved
I'm on my
that.
third co-host, but uh,
I loved that. But back to one of your earlier points too. I did have one or two at least two mentors at Boeing who they would check in with me, like once a year, like, or no, three. Why are you still here? Like serious
oh,
conversations. I was like, I'm crushing it. I'm doing good work. It's fun. And that I think that's like where you going back to thinking through what makes your career fulfilling. It isn't always about the money. It is about, for me, it was making humans' lives easier and better and more efficient. Like efficiency was the biggest thing for us, in engineering at
right.
Boeing, and so making their lives easier and talking with them and making them feel heard and hearing their frustrations, and no one
Mm,
else is talking to these mechanics and quality inspectors in some cases. So like the UXers were the ones like being the
yeah,
face to the software, and I just felt very valuable in doing that work, right? So
yeah.
so it wasn't always
But that, but you realize that you could do that in another place at different aspects.
yeah,
Well,
it was
she
scary.
eventually recognized it when it sounds like the mentors kind of pointed that out, which that's a great mentor. One of my previous managers and friends, he would always tell people, the difference between a coach and a mentor is a mentor knows what's keeping you up at night or what you're scared of is a kind of another way to look at that. And it sounds like your mentors recognized, okay, here's a person who's got a fear of leaving, which is holding her back from the greatness that perhaps could be and now is.
Is lit.
Ooh.
Yeah. And you guys know that one of my stronger skills was the networking and and being, I think, knowledgeable enough to know that having like 100 mentors would work to my benefit. So I had mentors for like every aspect of my career. Like I had one that was like I'd message them about like what to wear to this conference, But like Sudi, shout out to Sudi. He was my Zen master. Like if I was like crying at work, I'm calling Sudi because like he is Zen. Like what can you what's within your circle of influence? Like what can you influence? Like what is outside of your control? Like what's this that's so fast. Just say that's fascinating. And he was just the go-to guy. And, so many others. But
That's great. Yeah.
We are probably approaching the end of what's appropriate for the amount of time to borrow from you, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't ask one last question in this current climate. So as a user experience guru and expert, where's AI for you? How is that changing, impacting your work, your business, what you do?
I asked ChatGPT last week to build me a roadmap for my upcoming initiative. It spit out some pretty solid recommended activities. User-centered design is pretty timeless, so there weren't a lot of surprises in there, like user research, workshop planning, conduct the research, do the design. But what's cool was I did have a few learnings. I know you're going to ask me what they are, and I can't remember them off the top of my head. But it was like, oh yeah, I'm so glad ChatGPT added that in. Thank you. Like, I think it was like an extra planning, like prep. It was like prepping the research or something. Like, thank you for recognizing. Like, I can't just jump straight in. I need to prep for the research first. So ChatGPT is going to be helping us with that. Be asking it questions before I ask users just to see if it has found anything on the interwebs. Start making us personas. It's gonna probably start writing my user testing scripts, even though I feel like I'm a pro at it. I am not an expert in the visual design aspect, though I wonder if it will design the user interface at some point in the future. I know that they're being taken to court on copyright infringement left and right, so I don't know how much I want to dabble in like creating content with chat AI just yet versus like and asking it questions that I would hope it would just Google itself and come back to it.
Or like using it as a glorified Google. But yeah, no, visually, you're right. They could do it. They could do what's the best design.
I also asked it to make my Mother's Day Facebook post extra sappy, and it was so disgusting that I posted it, and then all my family and friends were like, "Oh my God, love you too, this is so great." And I like talked to my friend. I talked to my friend after. I'm like, no one thought it was a joke. Like they all thought because it was like, shout out to all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day to all you got this, and like to my angel babies, like. You are the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I like posted it as a joke. No one like read it as a joke. And I talked to my friend later. I'm like, why did no one like laugh at my post? They all were like heart emoji, love you too. And she's like, yeah, you probably didn't. I even said like this post was written by ChatGPT, and like I don't think it knows what that is yet. And
wait, did you had that on the post that it was written by ChatGPT?
I can share it with you if you want. I can go find it.
That's so next time you should ask ChatGPT to make it over the top but obvious that it's a parody or in jest or whatever, and see what it changes.
But isn't that the magic of ChatGPT? I think that I don't know if that's too meta for ChatGPT.
I don't think so.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think so. One of the more interesting things somebody shared with me is they said they will give it a prompt and it'll spit something out, and then they'll say critique the previous response, and it'll go and find all
You
these
have to always.
things that it's basically correcting itself, saying, well, this wasn't quite as good or this wasn't good. I've used it. I sent out one of my newsletters, one of my email newsletters, and I
Nice.
put in the newsletter, I said, well, the previous update was written by ChatGPT. Could you tell? And when I did it, though, the first time I gave it the prompt,
Nice.
I'm like, that's not right. I said, make it more conversational, or make it more lighthearted, or whatever. And
Yep.
it was
Yeah.
impressive. It did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also used it similarly, like write like a birthday card. So I was also like, not right, not right. Give me the change it this way, change it this way. Yeah, finally got to good. So it was a good collaboration. So that it was a good collaboration there. Also, Miro just put out some AI enabled synthesis support. So
Oh.
we have some designers starting to dabble in that. Though I was going to write a note to Paul over at Boeing to look out for that because it's processing that stuff externally. So if you have
Right.
proprietary data on there, we
Yeah.
don't want that necessarily being processed. So I was going to send Paul a note to watch out for that. But yeah, it's coming. It's coming everywhere, isn't it?
It's
It's
Yeah.
not just coming; it's here.
it is. Let me rephrase. It is a flaming, terrifying forest fire.
Yeah.
And it is going,
Indeed.
and we are going to, what's the phrase? If you can't beat it, join it. We're gonna leverage it, and
Fan the flames.
I'm
You know,
excited.
we're gonna hopefully set up some controlled burns to guide the flames as to where they should go. And boy, with
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
fiery metaphor, I think that's a great place to end our conversation, at least for now. I think we lost Rex to the chat bots. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe his internet connection. But Liz, thanks for taking the time again to chat with us on a podcast.
it was my pleasure. Thanks for the invite, guys. And yeah, it was awesome catching up with both of you.
All right, we'll do it again soon.